Hey long drivers, what's going on? It's your host Alex Wober back here with an episode of Smash Factor. Today we're here in the simulator in Long, South Carolina, and it's been 20 plus days since we last did a Smash Factor episode. We have a lot to uncover. We've been busy, but we've got a lot to uncover. Before we unpack all those great things that have been happening in the ultimate long drive world, let's thank our sponsors: 1764 Apparel, Tech, Catalyst, 4 Yards More, Shark Attack Golf, Yingling Brewing, Perfect Hands, Buzz Clear, T-Claw, and the Sonesta Hotels for the North American Tour Style. Thank you once again to those sponsors. Let's jump right in. Here's the June 8th events. Starting with the Utah Summer Kickoff at Sweet Heat, Parker Jensen took home the Open Men's Division with a drive of 421 yards. Parker Jensen blowing the competition out of the water. Kevin Kemp in the men's 45 going 354. Mark Lawrence took two divisions, the 50 and the 55, going 360 and then 366. Kevin Saylor took home the men's 35 Pro with a drive of 347. That does it for the Utah Summer Kickoff that happened on June 8th. Next, we've got the Minnesota-Iowa Smashing in June, which featured Carter Stumney in the Open Men's Division going 316 yards. Amanda Northwick in the Open Women's taking it home with a drive of 197. And Scott Withhorn in the men's 55 going a solid 300 yards. That was the Smashing in June Minnesota-Iowa competition. Now we have the East Coast Classic. A lot to unpack here. A great event I got to experience in Virginia. Got to put names to faces for once and meet all of the great long drivers that participated in the Ultimate Long Drive event. Dylan Spinato in the U13 Boys Division, winning that with a drive of 265 yards. I'll go ahead and pick on myself a little bit. I went 267 in the Open Men. Not a great day for Mr. Alex Wober here out there in Virginia, but we gave it a shot. We ended up doing better in the Coastal Carolina event, which we'll get into in a few minutes. But Evan Brubaker took home the Open Men's Finals going 339.5 yards. Shane Briggs in the men's 35 took it home with a drive of 315.4, while Christina Dimick in the women's 35 went 265.6. Jennifer White in the women's 40 with a drive of 223. Kevin Porter with a drive of 344 yards in the men's 45. Just wait till you see his mic'd up from that event. Oh my goodness. Jennifer White in the women's 45 went 236. So Jennifer White taking home two divisions from the East Coast Classic. Brian Hare down in the men's 50 finals going 276.1 yards. And following him, Serge Kaya in the men's 55 finals with a drive of 281.7. Betty Ann Quaid in the women's 55 going a solid 207 yards to take home that division. And Serge Kaya once again in the men's 60 finals going 287.3 yards. Jeff Gilder took home the men's 65 with a drive of 236, while Papa Porter, Mike Porter, took home the men's 70 with a drive of 240 yards. Now we get into what was a dramatic finish in the Open Men's Pro, which saw Andrew Fernandez go off against Isaiah Joyner, with Fernandez taking it home by 6 yards at 350. The Open Women's Pro featured Janine Minnick. She went 286 yards, taking home that division. Ellen Peake in the men's 35 Pro went 343 yards, while Ben Sutton followed up in the men's 40 Pro with a drive of 333.4. Jeff Critter in the men's 45 Pro going 342.5. He also took home the men's 50 Pro finals with a drive of 341. And capping off the East Coast Classic, Mr. Terry Kirkland in the Valor Pro going 301.9 yards. Next up was the Western Pennsylvania Summer Kickoff, which happened on June 15th. Featured Maya Gary in the 17U division going 256.3 yards. Congratulations to Maya. And in the Open Men's division, Adam Robinson went 326 yards. And Matt Gary capping it off in the men's 40 with a drive of 296.6. Next up, we've got the events for June 22nd and June 23rd. The Coastal Carolina Summer Bash, which featured the U9 Girls Division, Ava Wilkinson with a drive of 157 yards. Following up, Patrick Wilkinson in the Open Men's Division took it home with a drive of 324 yards. I was right behind him with a drive of 280, which was a slight improvement from the East Coast Classic. We'll take those. Robert Saucier took home two divisions, the Open Men's Valor with a drive of 323 yards, and the men's 40 with a drive of 326.2. Ron Gaddis took home the men's 60 with a drive of 260 yards, while Matt Bowen had the longest of the day, and I tell you, it was fun to watch it from the grid. A drive of 335.6 yards in the Open Men's Pro. Congratulations, Matt Bowen. The Western Carolina Proving Grounds event is the last event that we will cover, which happened on June 22nd. Julie Bullard in the U13 division went 217.9 yards. Adam Betcher in the Open Men's went 333.9, while Henry O'Grady in the Open Men's Adaptive Division went 182.9. Michael Beerley in the Men's 45 went 320.7. Tatiana Thurston in the Women's 45 with a drive of 184. Will Mosby in the Men's 55 got himself a 246-yard drive, while Gary Ramirez took home two divisions, the Men's 60 and the Men's 65, with a drive of 303 in the 60 and a drive of 320 in the Men's 65. Bruce Mower in the Men's 70 going 234.2 yards. Then we had ourselves another intense battle in the Open Men's Pro, which saw Maurice Allen take it home with a fantastic drive of 358 yards. Big stuff. Glad we got to unwrap all that stuff and cover all the things that we missed here on Smash Factor. Let's jump into the schedule real quick and talk about what we have left. We've got the Leon, Mexico North American Tour happening this weekend from June 28th to the 29th, 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. Again, in Leon, Mexico. If you're going out there, it's going to be phenomenal. You'll be able to have a chance to break your record, but can you handle the heat? We'll find out soon. June Shots at Morongo is up next, June 29th from 9 a.m. to 12 o'clock p.m. at the Morongo Golf Club at Tequette Canyon in the Southern California League. The 2024 Michigan Slams event comes after that on the 29th, 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. in Howell, Michigan. And then the Summertime Bombs is the last event this weekend, which is the Mid-Atlantic League North at Leisure Lanes in Lancaster, Pennsylvania from 11 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. Jumping into July, we've got July 6th, one event, the Texas Bombing Drives at the Rim Golf Academy and Driving Range, a part of the Central Texas League. We've got the Connecticut ULD North American Tour qualifier, July 13th at the Chris Coates Golf Range. We also have the July Long Drives, a part of the Minnesota Iowa League on July 13th from 10 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. at the Bertram Chain of Lakes Regional Park, the soccer fields, of course. The Red, White, and Long Drive event at Sweet Heat Golf and Long Drive, part of the Utah League, is going to be from 11 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. as well on July 13th. July 14th, the Western Pennsylvania July Bombs event will happen at Millard Golf Center from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock p.m., a part of the Western Pennsylvania League. Then we've got another 3 events on July 20th, with one on July 21st, the Bombs in Michigan from 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. at Tap-Ins, and then the Mid-Atlantic North versus South, the Battle of the Mid-Atlantic Leagues from 11 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. July 20th at the Top Dog Golf Center. The Southern Alabama July Bombs will be from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock p.m. at the Dothan Driving Range, part of the Southern Alabama League. And then on July 21st, Coastal Carolina League Summer Bombs from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m. once again at Sandpiper Bay Country Club. And then we've got the Ohio North American Tour. That's July 27th at 11 a.m. at the Golf Center at Sports Ohio. And that is all the events for July. Let's jump into the North American Tour, as we just mentioned a few of those events. The Connecticut one, the Mexico one, of course, coming up this weekend. The Ohio North American Tour, which we just talked about. And then we have the Canadian ALD Championships, the Kevin Blinkhorn Memorial Bash for Cash, August 16th to August 18th in Alberta, Canada. All this information, once again, is on ultimatelongdrive.com. You can find it all there. Results, rankings, all that stuff. ultimatelongdrive.com. Find it all there. This has been an interesting episode of Smash Factor. I'm glad I got to give you all the information that we've been lacking on for the past couple of weeks. But thanks again for tuning into Smash Factor. I'm your host, Alex Wober, and we'll see you again.